2. Thumbs up for sound. Thumbs up for sound. Thumbs up. There we go. All right. I really, it's crazy. I just gave a nice spiel, and of course, it didn't work. So I don't know if you guys can tell. I got a new camera. Is it looking crisp, guys? This is for y'all. Is it looking crisp and clean? First and foremost, before we get into combine talk, is it looking crisp? Is the camera looking crisp? I'm gonna be having a lot of guests. I don't know if you guys have been able to tell, but the channel's like moving. I'm not gonna say moving in that direction, but it's we're doing a lot of good things in that way. Nice camera, good, nice, crispy cream donut. Bet. Now, how's the mic sounding? Is the mic sounding clean? Let me know. Is the mic sounding clean? Because that's the biggest thing. I wanted to give you guys better audio, better everything. Really, it's important to me that you guys get the best. So mic is good. You know, I don't want good, guys. I want next level. Okay, Kelvin Hicks said it's stupid clean. All right, guys, here we go. Let's get right into the show, man. Combine news and notes. I gotta tell you all, I am. This is my time of year, and I know that this is your guys' time of year as well. The Cowboys have, it's gonna be a mixed bag with what Dallas does this offseason. I feel like so many people are used to the Cowboys. We've gotten in this world where it's, Dallas is only going to be players late in free agency. And I got to tell you, I don't see that. I see a team that is that better, Kelvin? Let me see. Get some of this gain out of there. How's that? That cleaner? Let me see. Maybe I'm a little too close. What about now? We're going to get this thing right, y'all. We got time tonight, so we're going to get this thing right. How's that sounding? Way better. Okay, yeah. It was too much gain, Kelvin. This mixer that I got is almost too powerful. So all right, there we go, Mike. And then this mic is extremely powerful as well. All right, cool. Thank you, April. All right, let me turn off the comments for a second. You guys go tell everybody I'm over here. Tell your aunties, tell your uncles. We're live like Fox 5. All right, so I have thoughts, I have notes. It's interesting because with this team, I think we've gotten to the point where we don't expect anything free agency wise. Like it's draft only. And I don't think that's going to be the case. Now we're going to talk news, nuggets, obviously the Osa situation, obviously Jordan Lewis, what's going to happen with that. That's two great nuggets of news. But I do believe that Dallas is going to be players in free agency. I don't think the first wave of free agency. I don't think the big names, but I don't think that this team is as far away as people may think. That's just me. I have thoughts about the combine. I have thoughts about the players that this team met with. I have thoughts. I have high-level thoughts. We'll talk about everybody that they met with. I didn't like the fact that Walter Nolan did nothing. I thought that he should have worked out. He didn't do anything. I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that Mason Graham was a lot lighter than I thought he would be. Now, they didn't have a formal with Mason, but so there's a lot of information coming out of the combine. But we got 10 players that the Cowboys did have formal meetings with, and some of the risers. Like, the good thing about the combine is it puts people on the map. It puts players on the map. The bad thing about the combine is whether it's interviews, whether it's, rumor mill, it can hurt players as well. Like, there's worlds where players go to the combine, don't interview great, and then before you know it, they're off boards, right? Let's be honest. I've heard that Mike Green is not going to be on some teams' boards. I've heard that Walter Nolan is not going to be on some teams' boards. This happens every year. The character concerns for some people can be too much. But then you have these moments where a guy like Maxwell Harrison, and if you guys have followed me, you follow the channel, he goes out, he blazes his 40, 4.29 40. It was great. But it's just not the 40. The film is really good. If you're following me on Twitter, make sure you guys are following me on Twitter and on IG, all of those spots. Like, if you guys jump in the DMs on IG, I'll talk back to you. Just show love. It is what it is. But, you know, I tweeted out last month when he was at the Senior Bowl. Listen, he was my favorite, without a doubt. He was my favorite corner at the Senior Bowl. Like, he really and truthfully was. So him going to the Senior Bowl, him going to the Combine rather, and him doing what he did, he's going to fly up teams' boards. Now, the size isn't great, but, you know, go watch the rep, and I'll put it on the screen. Go watch the rep of him versus Jack Best. I mean, dog, he's fine. He's physical enough, like all of that. So, again, you know, the rep he had versus Jack Best, it's a 30-pound difference. There was no nothing. There was no issue. He was fine. And so I think that, to me, when you talk about, you know what, let me pull that rep up for you guys. Let me talk about Max Harrison, because they did have a formal with Max Harrison. His film, guys, I got to tell you, is good. It's D1. I said D1, first round quality. Then you look at a guy like, you know, I got to be honest with you. Some of these guys hurt themselves at the Combine. Like, I was looking at, I'm looking at Harold Fannin Jr., and his RAS score is not good. And even at the Senior Bowl, when I watched Harold Fannin, I'm like, man, I like Arroyo better. He didn't really pop to me in that way. But let's stay on point. I want to show you guys some of Max Harrison. Just because, like, when I watched him, I just, when I watched him, it was just like, man, I like that's funny. Maxwell Harrison versus T-Mac in training camp. Hey, you know what? We'll talk about T-Mac, because he did meet with the Cowboys, and he's such a funny, polarizing player amongst Cowboys fans. There's actually a faction of Cowboys fans who don't like him, which is, like, extremely interesting. It's just like, wow, I didn't think there were Cowboys fans who didn't like T-Mac, but, you know, I mean, if you look at his, tape, just because he's not a burner, you don't like T-Mac? I don't know. That would be, alarming to me, but, because, I mean, the guy could play. He could play. He could play. I mean, you don't need him to be a burner. What you need is for him to play good football and do really good football things. Let's look at Maxwell Harrison. Let's look at a few reps from Maxwell. Let's see what the world is talking about when they talk about Maxwell Harrison. All right, let me know if y'all can see my screen. So this was actually a video that I took at the Senior Bowl. And, there are people who will say he's smaller, but he's just physical. Like, that's how Jack Best wants to beat you up. He's not a burner. And Maxwell knows that. And he's playing a technique, a little grabby, but I'm not mad at it. Get away with the subtleties. But look at that. Look how he just attacks the ball right there. Like, I'm telling y'all, man, And the fact that the Cowboys did have a formal with him, to me, that is one of those things that's like, man, they're getting it. This front office, they're understanding, like, hey, there's a world where Dallas may not, right? We got to be honest. There's a world where Dallas may not have Trevon Diggs next year. What if you get to a place where you get your first round pick and Maxwell Harrison is staring at you, right? I got to tell you, I'm not mad at it. This was that same rep. He is a good football player. I just don't think that a lot of people know about his game, right? I don't think a lot of people even are familiar with the player. This rep right here against Bond, look at the makeup speed. And I got to tell you, love Kalen Carson. It was clear, obvious that Kalen Carson wasn't ready for the NFL game speed-wise. But here's a guy in Harrison that's coming from the SEC. We know what Will McClay thinks about SEC athletes. I got some thoughts on Will McClay later, too. He gave us some nuggets about the staff, about how he feels. I got to tell you guys, when you listen to Will and Steven, Brian Schottenheimer is their guy. I don't think that they really cared much for Mike McCarthy, and we'll get to some of that. I got that written down in my notes. But Maxwell Harrison, have a day, young man. And he was a Cowboys formal. So I think that, that's awesome to me because the Cowboys do need a corner. We want weapons. Everybody in Dallas, everybody who loves a star wants weapons, but we have to be mindful that, this team needs to get stops. This team needs to make plays. And so Maxwell Harrison, step on up. Number 2, Jahdae Barron. Jahdae Barron did have a formal meeting with the Cowboys, and he's a name to watch because the measurables are interesting. So he's under 5'11". All my Texas fans, you guys jump in the chat. Tell me, Foots, you're wrong. But I see a nickel on film, and I could be wrong. But I see a nickel, and a good nickel, like a safety, a box guy, but I don't know if he can play on the edge, down in and down out. What do you guys think? I could be wrong, but I don't know if Jahdae Barron, Texas cornerback, the Cowboys did have they had a formal with Jahdae, right? Jahdae. And I just don't know if he can play rep in, rep out on the edge. I don't know. And what I mean by that is he does have amazing position flex. But again, it's one of those things where he's playing it, but where will he exceed at in the league? Let's get to the super guys. Seeing some guys that have solidified themselves in the first round, also like the front office getting contracts started early. Yes, Darnell, 100%. Like the conversations getting started, possibly getting some of these things done so we could kick some money down the curb to go out and get players that want on our team. 100%. I mean, I think that there's Mike Fisher reported today that Dallas may be interested in DK Metcalf. I don't know how real that is, but you never know. I wouldn't hate DK and CeeDee Lamb together. I wouldn't hate it. You let DK stretch the field. I think that's what he does best. He's a big, fast. I don't like him as a route runner and running everything in a route tree. But I do think that he, the regime that's in Seattle didn't draft DK Metcalf. So I don't think they're married to Metcalf, not to mention some of the, I wouldn't really say off-field stuff, but he's a guy that he can, I won't say he's a headache, but, it is what it is. So that could be something that we talk about. It's reported that DK is loved by the Packers, but I'm just going to tell you what I know about Green Bay. I don't see Green Bay giving up a pick for DK Metcalf. Green Bay does not come off of draft picks. Like I'm going to just tell you that now. The Packers do not come off of draft picks. Okay. Jahdae Barron. He's a fast riser and he ran fast. And he's built nicely. But I just don't know. I'll tell you guys, I like Maxwell Harrison a little bit better than Jahdae Barron. And I know Jahdae Barron he is going to be, McShay came out and said, man, I don't think there's 10 better players than Jahdae Barron. But I'm going to stick to my guns on Harrison. I just feel like the technique, the arm length, what he was able to do at the combine, the speed, so that speed checks that box. I just feel like what he was able to do on tape, I like Maxwell Harrison, but I also do like the fact that the Cowboys are having these formals with some of these top DBs and some of these guys on defense, because there's a world where Dallas could draft defense early, even in a trade back situation. I know that people don't want to hear that, but there's a world. Carson Schwesinger, very interesting prospect. Didn't work out, didn't run the 40, but jumped 39 inches. Really instinctual player on film. The interesting thing for Schwesinger, and this is the UCLA linebacker, Dallas had a formal with him. Chat, what do you guys think about Schwesinger, first of all? But then number two, and most importantly, like the needs for this team, just name one. Name a need, and there's a need. But I got to tell you, man, the way that Schwesinger wins, he wins with instincts. So G.R. Campbell yesterday really put on a show. 4'6", 40 guy, great vert, looks the part. But I did a film thread on him today on my Twitter. Make sure you guys check that out. And the only issue that I have with Jihad is I said he needs pro-level coaching, right? Sometimes the instincts just aren't where I want them to be when it comes to Jihad. With Schwesinger, he sees it and goes. And the fact that he came in at 242, man, you see the numbers right there. 136 tackles, 4 sacks. His tackle for loss rate is out of this world. But again, all my draft community people, it's that number right there, 242. Like, I wasn't going to go crazy when it came to Schwesinger as far as like doing film and stuff like that, just because, guys, he's 225. Or that's what he played at, and that's what he was listed at. But then he comes to the combine at 242. Now, maybe that's why he didn't run a 40. Maybe he wanted to show teams that I could bulk up. But this guy's a former walk-on, man. His instincts are through the roof. He will punch you in the face. He will run downhill. This is what I was talking about. Let me go back to my page real quick. If you aren't already, make sure you guys are following me. And we'll get back to we'll talk a little Carson Schwesinger and just how he will fit in this Matt Eberflus defense. Because, again, with Eberflus, it's so interesting because, hey, make sure you guys are following me, man. And that's kind of crazy. A lot of people been on my page. I don't know. That can't be right. 71. I know I tweet out a bunch of stuff. Oh, and if you aren't, make sure y'all checking out the music. Been doing drums, playing all that type of stuff. All right. So let's talk about G.R. Campbell, because I kind of went through some plays with him, right? And one of his best tapes, but it also kind of did show like some of the issues with him is, again, when he sees it like that rep right there, we're good. GI, see it, go. Like, if he sees it and he's going to play downhill, he's a top 10 type guy. I mean, there's a guy who played defensive end last year, has some rush ability. They had him working out with the defensive ends after workouts yesterday. I mean, he's fluid, great hips, great looking athlete, 6'4", checks all those boxes, right? but it's reps like this that do scare me. So watch 44, bang. And what that is with Campbell, I think one of the issues that I have is you got to know linebacker things. And he sometimes plays like a linebacker who's figuring out how to play linebacker that used to play defensive end. And you could tell right there, let's take this block on. We don't want to give up ground right here. Read. Hey, flow's coming your way. Let's play force and let's take this block on again. Right here. Once you see flow coming, bow. We got to take that block on. I get swimming and using the swim move or whatever it is you're doing with your hands to try to get them out the way. But the problem with that is, look what happens. Look at the run lane that you give up moving out the way. You see 44. If you put your shoulder in his chest one rep, I'm telling you, he'll stop coming downhill, and you're about 10 pounds bigger than 44. Let's play the force technique the right way, and let's make that play. Whereas Schwesinger, he's already there. Like as far as like he'll sniff that out, he'll knife, he'll make that play. That's all over his tape. The thing that scared me was it's just the size. But I mean, UCLA is putting guys in the league. Latu had a decent year. Femi Oladaje, his name messes me up. Him and Nick Amani Amani. Oh my God, I'm gonna mess Nick's name up. I did this other day on a live stream with James. Nick Emenwariye. South Carolina safety. These names. We're gonna call him Nicky E. Again, look at Schwesinger knows where he's supposed to be. He'll run the alley. He's a linebacker's linebacker. Like you're not gonna put him on the edge and ask him to rush. But what you are gonna do is keep him in the middle of your defense, keep him clean, let him run free, let him cover, like all of those types of things. He is just he's one of those guys. Like he just has incredible instincts. And so the fact that the Cowboys did have a formal with him, that just lets me know where their head is. We also got to think, and I was thinking about this the other day, and I wanted to hear how you guys feel about this. DeMarvion Overshown. This is now 2 season-ending injuries, 1 in preseason. It scares me, right? Because you had the 1 in preseason against Jackson. When was that? No, it was Seattle. Freak play out for the year. Then you have the injury this year, season injury. Freak play out for the year. That's back to back. Right now, your only decent linebacker on the roster is Maris Luafau. Now, I did a video on it, did content on it. Could they possibly bring in a Dre Greenlaw, somebody to cover that back room? They've given up on Damone Clark, and rightfully so. Damone Clark hasn't played good. Matt Eberflus didn't draft Damone Clark. Mike Zimmer didn't draft Damone Clark. That was a Dan Quinn guy. And Damone, he was, again, when it comes to that trigger stuff, yes, great athlete, can get upfield, all of that, but the instincts just weren't there. At least and there were times where, there were times where Luafau could have been better, but the thing about Luafau that it is, his instincts were incredible. His instincts, he played football the right way. He had really good instincts. So again, Nick Bolton, I see chat saying Nick Bolton, 100% Nick Bolton could be in play. Jihad Campbell at 12 is a little rich for me, but he's still learning the position. He's still growing. So make sure you guys hit the like button, like, share, subscribe. Just talking a little combine, talking a little Cowboys notes and news. It's Friday night. I just want to talk to you guys. That's it. That's all. Love y'all, man. Carson Schwesinger. All right. Omarion Hampton was a formal meeting with the Cowboys. Omarion Hampton. I got to tell y'all, Omarion Hampton is a nice looking athlete. I went back and watched some of Shotty's play calls and some of his games, and I'm still working through them when he was the coordinator for those 2 years in Seattle. And man, I got to tell you, as some of these DBs are still running, I don't know if Travis is going to run. I see Zy Alexander is about to run. Trey Amos. Oh no, this is early. So this is from earlier. It's just rerunning it. But I got to tell you, with Hampton, watching those old Seattle games, I got to be honest with you, man. Like, Shotty has one thing he wants to do. He wants to get downhill. Brian Schottenheimer wants to get downhill. I also think that it's really cool that Brian Schottenheimer and staff all were extremely in lockstep with not only how they spoke about football, but how they spoke about the philosophy and what they want to be. Words you heard, violence. Words you heard, how do we, and themes you heard, how do we get back to being violent? Everybody on the team, everybody on the offense needs to at some point be violence and create violence. That was Clayton Adams. That was Brian Schottenheimer. Physicalness. That was, Junior, the receivers coach, everybody. Violence, physicalness, violence, all of them. And again, it's better to have a starting point of who you want to be or a starting point of what you want to be than not. I don't think anybody, even in the chat, could tell me. I think anybody even in the chat could tell me who did Mike McCarthy want to be? What was his mission statement? Who was Mike McCarthy? I don't think anybody could tell you that. And I think that's part of the issue, right? Like, that was 100% part of the issue when it came to this team. Like, they had no rhyme or reason for, what they wanted to be. Again, that's just me. So that's no rhyme or reason for what they wanted to be. And it showed. When it came to running the ball, the Cowboys were a team that ran the ball, I feel like, because it was something to do. I feel like Shotty is going to run the ball because that's who we are. Would you guys agree with that? This Shotty hire, man, is growing on me day in and day out. This Brian Schottenheimer hire is growing on me day in and day out. Marion Hampton, a formal meeting with the Cowboys. Mel Kiper mocked O'Marion Hampton to the Cowboys when Genty went to the Raiders. I got to tell y'all, I think that Genty to the Raiders is really in play. A lot of dominoes fell today at the combine. So, well, just in football news in general. Matthew Stafford re-signed with the Rams. I don't know if these teams are as high on quarterback as we may think. Yes, Las Vegas does need a quarterback, but Las Vegas could choose to say, do we like Aaron Rodgers? Do we like this free agent? Do we like that free agent? Do we want to bring in Kirk Cousins, hand the ball off to Genty, and throw the ball to Brock Bowers? Now, the interesting thing with that is that would be kind of weird because they did just have Josh Jacobs and they let him go. But I got to tell y'all, man, Genty to the Raiders is picking up a lot of steam. Ashton Genty to the Raiders is picking up a lot of steam. Would you guys be okay with picking on Marion Hampton? I had a tweet the other day and I said, man, listen, on Marion Hampton, I could be on board with it because the backs you want to get in the second round, Travion Henderson, He's not going to make it to the second round. He's not going to make it to 44. Travion Henderson won't make it to where you draft. I don't know. Quinshon Judkins is the one that's on the cusp. Caleb Johnson, no way. O'Marion Hampton, no way. You're now going to start thinking about that second tier of backs. Devin Neal, possibly. It depends on what you think about Neal. I love Jordan James out of Oregon, possibly. But it depends on what you think about Jordan James. Do you want to do that at 44? So who's that back at 44? For me, it would have to be Quinshon Judkins. But do they fit the mold of what Brian Schottenheimer wants to be? It has nothing to do with what Foots wants to be. It has everything to do with what does Brian Schottenheimer want to be? Because Brian Schottenheimer wants to be a physical coach that wants to get downhill. Who's that back that you would take at 44 to do that? Or do you say, you know what? We live in this world with Rico, and we pair Rico with a Brashard Smith. We pair Rico with a, RJ Harvey. You pair Rico with, and I'm doing a film breakdown on him, Damian Martinez, a guy who he embodies what this staff wants. I'm doing a legit breakdown on Martinez, but Foots can't draft Martinez because he's slow. He's a 4.5, possibly a 4.6 guy. You can see that on film. And you can't draft Martinez Foots is not drafting Martinez at 44. Love you, but there'll be too many other good players on the board at 44 to draft Damian Martinez at 44. And I love Damian Martinez, but this is a great conversation because when we start talking about what this team wants to be, I think the Cowboys have a certain type of running back in mind. Ashton Jeanty covers all of it. He does. I think O'Marion Hampton is their 1B, a lot like how it was with Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. They saw Gibbs go. Detroit saw Bijan go. They didn't waste time. They traded up. So that's interesting. I love O'Marion Hampton. Okay. I want to be clear about that. I love O'Marion Hampton. Early on in the process, no way. But if there's a running back tax and you have a feel of what type of back you want, and it's not what we think, it's what the Cowboys' plan is. It has nothing to do with what we think. Has nothing to do with what we think. Right? Just being honest. It's not what we think. What's the Cowboys plan? Hampton, he's a tank, bro. NFL body today. Now I feel like Jeanty is cut up like a bag of dope as well, but it's a different type. Like he's more what Maurice Jones-Drew would be if he ate better, ate a little bit cleaner. I like Maurice Jones-Drew. He was a fun player, but that's who Jeanty is. You look at Hampton, man, corners don't want to tackle that they don't want to tackle this dude for 3-4 quarters, man. That's the first thing I noticed. Downhill player. I tell you guys, with him, with Martinez, and I got to give Zach, my buddy Double Move, you guys make sure you guys subscribe to Double Move. I got to give him a lot of kudos and flowers. Double Move was on Martinez early in the process and said, bro, I'm telling you. But, with Hampton, man, I just feel like he looks the part. He's a back that – now, this is what I don't want. I was talking to somebody about this early on in Zeke's career. May have been on the Cowboys Collective. You wore Zeke down to where he was nothing. I think that even – with Hampton's play style, I still would want to keep his touches to 15 and under, especially year one. Bro, you look at Zeke's game logs, we were giving Zeke 25 carries a game. Hey, nice to meet you, Ezekiel Elliott. We drafted you. Here you go. 25 a game, boy. Different. We was giving this dude, we were giving we were giving Zeke carries, bro. Carries. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you guys for being in here, man. Thank you guys for being in here. Tweet it out. Let people know. Let your cousins, aunties, uncle. Let's look at I want to look at Ezekiel Elliott's game logs. Like, that's kind of crazy how many carries we were giving Zeke a game. It's nuts. Rookie year. Let's go to game logs. Let's show this. It's crazy. This is crazy. Let me see. Career logs. This is nuts. We cannot do that to this next running back. I think there's a strategic way you got to run the ball, which is another reason why I believe that, let's go to 2016. He had, Ezekiel had 322 carries as a rookie. It's crazy. That's nuts. You say that's crazy work. In my backyard. There we go. We good. All right, chat. Give me thumbs up if we're good. My bad, y'all. I started talking about Zeke and they ain't like that. Okay. Moving right along. So that's interesting to say the least. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Sorry about that, y'all. Hey, I gotta say though, man. We went 40 minutes and I got a clean mic, man, and I'm feeling good. I feel like this camera gonna take me to another stratosphere. What y'all think? Is this the cleanest y'all ever seen me? How my skin looking? My skin looking good, y'all. It looked like I've been in the gym. Talk to me. Talk to me. No, but again, can't do that to the next running back that you bring in here. I don't think that would be. I don't think that would be fair to that back. I don't think that you need to. You got to bring in a back, and you have to use him correctly. Just being honest with you, you have to. You just can't run a guy into the ground. Yes, I have looked at Bashar Tootin. I love Bashar Tootin's game. I just don't know if he is. I don't know if Bashar Tootin is one of those backs who day one, game one will be ready for pass pro, will be ready for the things that you need him to do. I think that the Cowboys will have to use him in a spell situation. I think that's why I said with the running back position, it really is with a guy like Hampton, you feel good about putting him out there day one, game one. If nothing else, pro level body, great in pass pro, physical as crap. Like you have those things going for you, and then he can develop as the year goes on. I got to tell you, there are people in the league who believe that Omarion Hampton may be better than Ashton Jeanty. I'm not one of those people, but there are people, and all we're doing here when it comes to the draft, guys, is is trying to investigate, trying to find out. That's all we're doing. So, Jeffrey Bossa, Oregon linebacker, speed guy, had a pick 6 versus Texas Tech. Really good player. I think that he's one of those guys. Oregon athletes, they normally run well. There are times where I feel like he could be a little bit more physical and he could play with better instincts. Like when it comes to those instincts, man, Carson Schwesinger, he's the one. I think that with Bossa, I wanted him to play a little bit faster. And that's the same thing I felt like with Jihad Campbell. Even as good as an athlete he is, this is in sweats. This is in shorts and t-shirt. This isn't on the field. That's why I love Demetrius Knight so much. At the Senior Bowl, he popped because his he just had really good instincts. And you see that on film. So Jeffrey Boss, I would like his instincts to be a little bit better, but the fact that they had a formal with him, I think that's pretty cool. Had a formal with Walter Nolan. And I kind of already told you guys how I felt just about Walter Nolan, and I don't think that Walter Nolan killed his stock, but I don't think that he is helping himself throughout this process either. And I have heard that he is completely off of people's boards. Like, he will not be on their board. And so that's news. That is big news, to be honest with you. So I think, with Nolan, I think that, I don't know. Matthew Golden, I don't know if he is going to work out. Somebody help me if Matthew Golden is supposed to work out, but he did have a formal meeting with the Dallas Cowboys. Matthew Golden did. And I think that is interesting because with Golden, I see a guy who is extremely twitchy. I see a guy who is extremely rowdy. He can run every route in the route tree, man. And he can separate, has some yak ability. The questions that I have with Golden is how physical will he be day one as a blocker? We know that. So the signs are starting to really point to Emeka Egbuka. He has ties to the receivers coach for the Cowboys. Receivers coach for the Cowboys coached him in high school. Little nugget. And he's pro ready. He's a pro ready Robin. The problem with Egbuka is his floor is high. His ceiling is not. Golden's ceiling is high, but I could see it a bust just because will he get roughed up in the league? I mean, receiver's tough, man. That's why I'm so high on Tet, and I saved Tet for last. That's why I'm extremely high on Tet McMillan, because I think people are not giving Tet enough credit for how physical Tet McMillan is. But back to Matthew Golden, then we'll talk Emeka, and then we'll talk Tet McMillan. With Golden, the Georgia tape was awesome. Actually, Quinn Ewers had a whole shot versus cover 2 that he threw to Golden. It just felt like towards the end of the year when they needed to play, Matthew Golden was getting the ball. He had a skinny post. He ran that route so sharp, restacked the corner, got upfield. Those types of things, that's receiver stuff. He's a deep threat. He can run dig. His dig package, bro, the way he runs dig, stupid. And I judge receivers off how they can run dig. Can they separate on dig? Can they restack, get a corner, bop, and then separate? He runs dig very, very well. He has legit separation. He's legit separation. The thing that scares me with him is the physicalness, and you're going to have to play on the edge because, we need somebody who, I think that day one, he's definitely better than Jalen Tolbert, but we need somebody who, go win on the edge right now because we want to move CD around. We want to make CD our move player. and he can also run every route. We know CD can run every route, but we want to make CD our move player. Like the offense is going to run through CD until further notice. I think it has to. Even whatever running back you draft, the offense still runs through 88. Make no mistake about that. And the receiver you draft is coming in as a Robin. And as I talk about it, and as we transition to Emeka Egbuka, I think that's why that's the allure of Emeka Egbuka, because his knowledge, all the reports are he kills the whiteboard sessions. He knows where he's supposed to be. He knows space. I'm not surprised because he also had pro-level coaching in Brian Hartline and Chip Kelly at Ohio State. I love the way that Chip Kelly designed stuff for him. Chip Kelly's designs were really good. It's no wonder he's back in the NFL this year. Chip Kelly was one of the OCs that I said, yo, the Cowboys could very well bring in Chip Kelly and I would be okay. So if Dallas said, you know what, we feel like we could get Emeka Egbuka at 20. If somebody wants to come up, get one of these D linemen, I would be okay with that. I would be okay with taking Emeka at 12. You just better tell me that he is going to play day one, game one, opposite of CeeDee Lamb. Love Jalen Tolbert. I'm out. He's a wide receiver 3. That's it. Love Jalen Brooks. I'm out. Love Turpin, and I think Turpin's role could be a take the top off the defense guy, Doug Baldwin type, just run past everybody, and I'm okay. I can live with that world, but I'm not counting on Kevontae Turpin as a receiver in this offense. I don't think you can. I can count on Emeka Egbuka to go out there and block, to go out and be that Jackson Smith and Jigba type. I mean, they all come from that Ohio State coaching. And the thing about I will say Egbuka is he had to be that again this year with Jeremiah Smith up and become a freshman, somebody who it's crazy. I've been watching him since he was at Miami Gardens. Just that 13U, they had a legendary 13U. Coach Rob Mack, legendary coach in that South Florida area. And bro, he has practice being a Robin and doing it well. He was excited and helped design the last touchdown for Jeremiah Smith. So Emeka's interesting. And in the headliner is Ted McMillan. The Cowboys did have a formal meeting with Ted McMillan. Now, what everybody wants to know is, will Ted run at the combine? No, he's not. Do I care? No, I do not. No, I don't. I think that with Ted wins in a way that could be, to me with Ted, I believe that Ted wins in a way that not a lot of receivers. He's a throwback, man. Like he wins in a way that not a lot of receivers in the game do. Just being honest with you. He wins in a way that not a lot of receivers do. Body positioning. Physicalness. He's NFL open. Man, have I been down to the 305? Come on, man. Love South Florida. South Florida football is second to none. Miami Gardens. Lauderdale Lakes, Fort Lauderdale Hurricanes, all those legendary youth programs. It's so crazy coaching on the youth scene in travel football. OG Ducks out in Cali. You get to see these guys before they're in the pros. I remember watching Jeremiah Smith. I talked to what's up, Chris? Cowboys beat on here, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. We just talking ball, talking shop. Shout out to everybody. I love you guys, man. This is my time here, and you guys know that, and you guys have been here. And I don't know if you guys could tell, but continuing to go up on the channel is what we're gonna do. Chris, you see the setup, new camera. Hey, man, this should be clear on y'all's TV when you playing this at work. I'm just saying. Yeah, man, 305, man. Texas, South Florida, second to none. Texas, South Florida, and then DMV football is right there. DMV football is right there, but Texas, South Florida, and Georgia, second to none. Then you go Cali. Then I think DMV right there. I mean, my youngins I coach, we're going to play some football. We going to take that trip to Florida, and we're going to see what's going on. But back to Ted McMillan. With Ted, he wins in a way, man, that people are overthinking the player. Why, y'all? Why are we overthinking and why? Like, he's NFL open even when he isn't. You don't have to overthink this guy. It's laughable. You don't have to overthink Tetero and McMillan. He's NFL open even when he isn't, guys. Like, he is. He's NFL open. End breakers. Come back. No, there's not a ton of separation, but 64% contested catch win rate. I'm cool. Sign me up. He also has great hands. He snatches the ball out of the air. What are we talking about? This is where draft fatigue and analytical fatigue and a bunch of people, no not to who hasn't been on a football field, but a bunch of people who, quite frankly, overthink the game. They overthink football. The analytics say this. The analytics say, man, listen, it's 4th and 1, line up in I formation and get downhill. That's what my analytics say. It's 4th and 1. We on the goal line. Ted McMillan got a 5'10" corner on him. I'm throwing fade. That's what Foots' analytics say. I don't care what the analytics say from some nerd who's up in the booth who's not in the game. You know what I'm saying? I get it, but no. That's how he wins. If somebody wants to come at me and say, yes, Ted McMillan is a red zone target only, cool, sign me up. That's what we need anyway. The red zone target who could be a big body, who could take pressure away from CD and can take roll coverages away from CD, sign me up. I'm great with that. Oh, he can't separate. Okay, will he catch everything within a 10-yard radius? Cool, sign me up. Because there's reps when I watch Jalen Tolbert. He can't do that. He's not physical. He's not competitive. There's reps when he is, but it's not consistent. Every rep I see from Ted McMillan, even if he's not getting the ball because coverage is being rolled his way, if he's running deep over, he's NFL open because that corner is on his hip and he can't play through his body. 6'5" wingspan. Really 6'5". A real 6'5". A real 6'5". I'm just saying. Cowboys formally met with Ted McMillan. I really, really like it. You know. So, those are the 10 players that the Cowboys met with, and there's a few more. You guys have heard anything else? You know, now actually, I'll pull up the list. Let me send it out to myself. I'll pull up the list. I just don't want any more goofiness. You know, is what it is. Now let's get to some Cowboys news. Interesting that Jerry did not have his or hold his meetings or his, like, Jerry not talking to the media. These deals are getting done, y'all. Jerry Jones not talking to the media. These deals are getting done. Make no mistake about that. Probably will start coming out tomorrow, but these deals are getting done. Osa's getting done. Nick Harris tweeted it out. I think he deleted it or changed it, whatever. But these deals are getting done. J. Lou, these deals are getting done. You know why? Because they have to. You can't play football next year without Osa. You don't have D tackles on this roster. We're still waiting for Mozzie, and I'm holding out hope for Mozzie, right? See a lot of good in Mozzie, but you're not going to go into a 2025 season with a new defensive coordinator without a guy who you've seen. This whole Osa wears down thing, I don't know where y'all got that from. The defense had every reason to quit last year. Osa was playing hard to the last snap. He doesn't get injured. I don't get that. Yeah, he wore down in Dan Quinn's scheme because look at how he was being coached. Did Washington stop the run this year? No, they didn't. It's the coaching. And to me, it was what they were asked to do. Is what Osa was asked to do. The coaching. He didn't wear down this year. Osa's a hell of a player, and you need Osa. You need Osa Digizua on this roster. Need. Right? J. Lou. You need J. Lou on this roster. I think that Jordan Lewis is one of those guys that as you make the transition to a new scheme, you want a Jordan Lewis on this team. He's played good football. He knows scheme. He could play on the edge. He could play on the inside. And this is a scheme that is tailor-made for Jordan Lewis. You want Jordan Lewis on this team. And then one of my last nuggets that I really caught was, first of all, Will McClay loves Brian Schottenheimer. His interview, one of the nuggets that hit home was, hey, he's not hiring his friends. Little jab, Will. It's a sneaky jab, guys. He's not hiring his friends. Okay, Will. Shot. That's a shot. The top row, baby. It's a hell of a shot. Right? Let's get to the super chat. Then we'll get to some more of this. Yo, Foots, just wanted to see if your fear is the same as mine. Do you think the Cowboys will pass on one of these elite guys for a lineman round one? Maurice, I do not. Any more super chats? Any more questions? I'm answering questions, guys. Maurice, I do not. You know, I talk with Chris about this all the time. I mean, we talk Cowboys B. He's in here. We talking film. That's why I said, guys, I'm here. You guys hit me up on Twitter. I'll try to answer as much as possible. You guys who aren't following me, or you are, or whatever, Instagram, shoot me any questions. I try to get back as fast as I can. I mean, I do have a life, do have a son I'm raising, but I love ball all the time. Me and Chris talk about this all the time. No, they're not drafting a lineman. Maurice, and thank you for the super chat. You know why they're not drafting a lineman? Because they drafted a lineman last year in the first round, and you need to develop that lineman. Tyler Guyton is not bad, and this goes to my other point. I wrote this down in my notes here. Actually, I typed it out today. Just trying to be more, you know. Let me see if y'all can see this. Can y'all see? Oh, it ain't gonna go into focus, but it says, yeah, you can. Philosophy. Shoddy on development. Shoddy said Tyler Guyton's name. He said his name 3 times in his presser. You know why he said his name 3 times, bro? Because you need to develop Tyler Guyton. He had a rough rookie year. I don't think it was his best. Like, if somebody could tell me who was the best tackle out of last year's class, I'll shut up. 3rd round pick from Washington. He had times when he struggled. I did like Joe Alt. Joe Alt was really, he was good, but he also gave up the same amount of sacks as Guyton, but he was good. Guyton, I think, gave up 6. Joe Alt gave up 6. Olu Fashanu couldn't get on the field. Olu Fashanu could not get on the field over Tyron Smith. When he did, he played okay. But, like, who was the tackle last year that was just all world? Jordan Morgan. Jordan Morgan. Everybody loved Jordan Morgan. Got drafted by the Packers. Couldn't get on the field. Could not play last year. Go look it up. So who was the tackle that was all-world in this all-world tackle class? There wasn't one. You know why? Because tackles take a while to develop. We were spoiled by Tyler Smith, the same Tyler Smith that a lot of Cowboys fans did not want to draft. I went out on a limb and said, this is going to be a great pick. Mel Kiper also called that pick as well. And people fought me. First, I don't know. And what did Tyler Smith do? Rookie year was at guard. Tyron Smith goes down. Hey, Tyler Smith, go play tackle. He goes and plays tackle, and he kills it. Again, we got spoiled. I could make an argument that Cooper Beebe was probably one of the best offensive linemen out of this class. So you're not drafting a tackle again. You don't need it. You're not drafting a lineman this year. No. Now, if you want to talk to me about James Pierce, who I love, yes, I did hear about the character concerns. I frankly don't care. James Pierce is being extremely. Make sure you guys timestamp this and remember this day. What's today's date? February 28th, last day of February. James Pierce is being criminally underrated. Extremely underrated. James Pierce is a dog. He ran a 4.4 yesterday, but that's on tape. Was better versus the run this year. This time last year, nobody was talking about Abdul Carter. This time last year, everybody's talking about James Pierce Jr. Everybody. Go look up preseason edge rankings. James Pierce Jr. No, he didn't have the same sack numbers, but he was better versus the run. Go watch the film. You pair him with Micah, and now you have Sam Williams and Nealon choking the run. Sign me up. Bring Golston back. Sign me up. I'm okay there. Not drafting an offensive tackle. This tackle class has too many. I got to tell you, two people that people aren't talking about when it comes to this offensive line class, in my opinion, right? Marcus Bowe, Donovan Jackson. I like Donovan Jackson. I'm not going to say he's better than – I don't think he's better than Josh Simmons. But I got to tell you, man, Donovan Jackson is really good. Like, to be able to play guard all year, and then, you know what? Got to give Chip Kelly and that Ohio State staff more credit. Hey, Donovan Jackson, go play tackle for this playoff run. He did a great job for some good defensive lines. Texas, good defensive line. Tennessee, good defensive line. Donovan Jackson held his own at tackle. So he's a lineman, but again, Dallas is not going lineman. What's up, Buddha? Hey, y'all, I'm going to do something real quick, all right? I'm going to show my guy some love, right? This is one of my great friends from the DMV area. He just started a channel. He's a Commanders fan. And I got to tell you, he does great, great work. Now, we just in here talking. We just talking a little combine, talking a little draft, so we all welcome. In season, we ain't messing with my man Buddha. But guys, this is a good man. This is a good friend of mine. And y'all know how I am about content creators. If you create content, if you go out on a limb and you willing to stick your nose out there and put your name on it, at the end of the day, I'm going to always support you. He is in the community. You guys go give him a follow right now. And I hate it because the Commanders got one in Jaden Daniels. So we're going to be competitive for a long, long time. So you guys see his name on the screen. Go give Buddha a follow, man. Commanders. I hate it, but it's my dog, man. Really good person. Y'all go give Buddha a follow. Everything Commanders with the Dream Team Buddha. Y'all go give him a follow. Go give him a follow. Go give him a sub, please, y'all. Do that for me. Do that for me. Do that for me. Do that for me. Put a check mark in here, y'all, if y'all hear me. And y'all, I need that, man, because that's my friend. Really good person. Now, Buddha, with that being said, you know we're gonna spank y'all when we play y'all again. But we're gonna support your content too. And you know, when we play Washington, maybe I get him on the channel, y'all. We talk a little trash. But yeah, man, you know, when it comes to O-line, no. Like, the Cowboys are not taking another lineman. Develop these guys. Build these guys. And that's what Shoddy mentioning Tyler Guyton as much as he did. Like, to me, that was big. Because, you know, to me, I feel like, man, I feel like drafting a lineman is lazy. Like, you're at 12, but this team is not that far off. Or this team isn't. I mean, we beat the Commanders with Cooper Rush. You beat Tampa. They were both in the playoffs and had a great game. You beat both of those teams. This team is not that far off. Dak is hurt. Micah's out. D-Law's out. Got to talk about D-Law. Do you guys want to bring D-Law back? That's another. I got thoughts because I don't feel like you missed D-Law to the point where you need to give him. If D-Law wants to go find some, you know, go to Washington, whatever you want to do, man, have at it. I feel like Golston and those guys actually play good football, and I want to see Nealon develop. Nealon was your second-round pick from last year. I want to see him get an opportunity. But the point of Dallas is not a bad team. They're just not. Now, the quarterback position, Dak got hurt, and season was a wash. But to act like this team is awful, and that's part of the allure of the Schottenheimer signing, and that's part of the allure of why I think Steven is going to invest in what Schottenheimer wants, because Steven wants Schottenheimer. Steven did not want Mike McCarthy. Stephen Jones did not want Mike McCarthy. It is what it is. Read between the lines. Follow the breadcrumbs. Listen. Watch Will McClay talk about Mike McCarthy. I mean, watch Will McClay talk about Schottenheimer and his staff. Didn't want Mike McCarthy here. Mike was Jerry's guy. Mike being brought back and them giving him nothing, that was Steven saying, no, I'm not investing in nothing for you. That was a Steven and Jerry for sure doing this. For sure. For sure. So this team is not far off. I say all that to say, and I go on that tangent to say, when you think about what this team needs, get a premier player at 12. Do not, and I repeat, do not look at me. Look at me. Look at me. I got my new camera. Look at this right. Follow me. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Do not pass on an elite talent. If you feel like James Pierce is an elite talent, draft him. If you feel like Tet is an elite talent, draft him. Shamar Stewart's numbers and his RAS score was comparable to Myles Garrett. Is he Myles Garrett on tape? Absolutely not. You have Aaron White Cotton. Do you feel like Shamar Stewart can come in and not only replace D-Law, but stop the run on rundowns, kick inside on third down and play the 3? Maybe. Draft him. But don't pass on a great player for a lineman. This team doesn't need a lineman, bro. You got to develop what you got. Brock Hoffman got a lot of great reps this year. Put Brock Hoffman at guard. And it does. Now, I will say this. It did. At first, it was kind of feeling like, okay, Cooper Beebe may go back to guard. I think they want to keep Cooper Beebe at center. I think they'll design a run game around Cooper Beebe as far as pull game, him, Smith, all that type of stuff, because that's what Connor Riley wants to do. It's all over the K-State film. Keep him at center. Having a great center is a weapon. We see what Philly's been able to do. You see with first having Kelsey, then there was no drop-off this year. I'm just saying. Let's get to these super chats, man. I love y'all so much. Let's get to these supers. Let's get up out of here. Oh, Maurice drops another 4. Hey, Maurice, one more question. If you're in the draft room and Genty is gone, do you stay at 12 and grab Hampton? This is a good question. Or drop down and get to 17, 20 and grab a receiver? Chat, what would y'all do? Hey, Maurice, you asking some great questions, man. What would y'all do? Chat, I'm asking y'all. Because I think that I know what I would do. But I want to ask you guys, what would you guys do in this situation? Maurice says, one more question. If you're in the draft room and Genty is gone, which if you read the tea leaves, I feel like Las Vegas, with Pete Carroll and how he wants to run the ball, I do feel like Genty being gone is real. Not to the Bears. We had Lauren Cox on, not to the Bears. I don't think that the Bears are in play, but I do think that him being gone is real. Frank says trade back. Gerardo says trade back. I'll say this, Maurice. I'm not trading too far. I'm telling y'all, I love James Pierce. I'm not trading too far. You got to tell me who's there. With Hampton, I tweeted it out. I'm not mad at Hampton. I'm just not, because we talked about it. I gave Hampton a 10-minute segment. I'm not mad at drafting Hampton there, because this staff is, what does this staff want to do? Again, Pete Carroll, he wants to run the ball. That's what he wants to do. What tree did Brian Schottenheimer come from? I mean, he talked about it. Him and Pete's relationship. Brian Schottenheimer wants to run the ball. Maybe he feels like the O-line was good enough. We didn't have an elite runner. And he's not going to wait, because you're not getting Caleb Johnson. You're not getting Travion Henderson at 44. I think what Cowboys fans have to realize is we're not the only team in the league that wants to follow trends. And this is why, if you were ahead of the trend, which was 2 years ago drafting a Gibbs, like Detroit trading up for Gibbs, they're ahead of the trend. They got ahead of the trend. Detroit did. So that's a great question, Maurice. Really good question. Tet or James Pierce, who you taking? I got to tell you, I would go Tet there, Frank. Great question. I would go Tet. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. James Pierce is so – I just don't understand the lack of – I mean, he moves like a receiver at the end, and he plays the run well. I get everybody loves Abdul Carter. James Pierce is not that far off, guys. And I know Mike Green and I know Shamar Stewart, but I'm just telling you, when it comes to bend and getting after the quarterback, Pierce is going to be one of those guys. I'm telling you, Pierce is going to be one of those guys. So just keep that in mind, man. Foots really likes James Pierce. And I encourage you guys to go watch film because I really do like James Pierce. Hey, man, this was a great time, man. I love you guys. I'm working on a draft guide with me and Zach. I'll put the link in the description box. This video is brought to you guys by BetUS. BetUS, all your betting needs. BetUS can take care of you. If you want to bet on futures, who's going to be the Cowboys' first-round pick, you can bet on it. NBA is live. The tank fight tomorrow. Who y'all liking the tank fight tomorrow? We got Combine all day. Then we got the tank fight tomorrow night. It's going to be dope. But BetUS, all your betting needs, BetUS has you covered. 10 players that the Cowboys had formal meetings with in latest news, rumors, buzz, all that. Cowboys Nation. I think we covered everything for the most part. Hopefully, we get these deals done. Hopefully we draft the right athlete. The formal meetings told us a lot. Linebacker, corner. Again, I think that them having a formal with Maxwell Harrison should tell you a lot. Because I'm at the Senior Bowl, and this guy can really, really play. So, I love you all. It's a fun time tonight, man. Friday night vibes. Peace. Let me turn the music up a little bit. I want y'all to hear this groove. Yeah. 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 Peace.